Hey, what's good with it? Black Goose TV family, man. Double salute as always. It's your boy Fluence Boxing back in the building once again with some more Fluence Boxing news for my people. You already know what type of time that we on. And first and foremost, I do want to say, man, happy Monday to everybody out there. Look, you know what I'm saying? Monday after a Thanksgiving weekend where you got extra days off and all that good stuff. For me personally, it was a little rough, but at the end of the day, we got through it. We're going on Tuesday. We're closer to the weekend. I also want to say happy Thanksgiving to all my Black Goose family members out there. Hopefully you had a good time with your family. If you didn't have a good time with your family, hopefully you ate some good food. If you didn't eat any good food, I'm hoping at the very least you could enjoy the extra time that you got off from work. At the very least, y'all, you know what I'm saying, you was able to find something from this past Thanksgiving weekend that you can be happy about and appreciative of. I know for me, at the very top of the list is having them days off. That was fire, and that's what made it so hard for me to get back into the groove of things for Monday. But regardless, either way it goes, salute to the people. Once again, hopefully you had a great Thanksgiving weekend. And I just want to, say blessings, positivity to all my family members out there and those who are not yet the family members. I still, say the same thing to y'all. Just make sure, man, y'all don't miss the love and hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, all that good stuff. So you already know what type of time we are. You know what I'm saying? But with that being said, what is the particular boxing news that Fluence is going to be discussing tonight? What am I going to be touching on? What is going to be the topic at hand? What is going to be the situation? Look, I'm going to tell you guys this now, and I'm going to be 100% with you. I have fallen in love or really enjoyed doing these shorter videos when it comes to, specific topics and me just pinpointing things, because as much as I love going live because I can just kind of just talk. I can go all over the place. People can come in, they can join it. You know what I'm saying? They can debate back with me. That's always a very good time. But what I really enjoy about these specific shorter videos is like y'all getting my opinion on it. I'm telling you what it is. I'm giving you guys the topics. I'm giving you guys the news. I'm letting you guys know how I feel about it. Then I get to hear from you guys. That's the most important thing. So I always suggest. I always ask. I always really encourage, any of my Black Goose family members, anyone who's not a family member, whatever the case may be, is comment on these, leave your opinion. Let me know how you guys feel about it. Because at the end of the day, I want to know what your guys' thoughts are on these topics when it comes to these videos, because this channel was built off of what you guys thought, what you guys think, what you guys comment on, how you guys feel. A lot of you guys may not know that because you guys are newer to the channel, but this channel got to where it was because of you guys commenting, saying what you feel and what you want to hear and what you want to say. So make sure you guys continue to do that. I'm, keep making it a big emphasis. I'm not going to go away from it. It seemed like I went away from it for a little while, but we're back in full form. We're back in full strength, and we're going crazy with it. Okay, now, disclaimer out the way. I'm sorry about that. I know you guys coming here, man. You 3 minutes in, you ain't talking about the topic. The rest of the videos, we're going straight to it, but I need to say that, and I need to let y'all know. But either way it goes, what are we talking about? We're talking about Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn has some very choice words, some very interesting words that he had to say after this past weekend. Jermaine Franklin versus Dillian Whyte did fight. I am actually thinking about doing and I haven't done it in a while. The last time I did it was Anthony Yarde versus Lyndon Arthur fight, where basically I was like, did he really get robbed? Did he get not robbed? Like, let me watch this in real time, and then I'm gonna tell you guys what I think. The last time I did that was for Anthony Yarde versus Lyndon Arthur, and that was the first fight. And after rewatching it, I stayed firm on what I said. I said Anthony Yarde won this fight easily. I got a lot of backlash. As we can see, Anthony Yarde is where he is now. Lyndon Arthur is where he is now. So it seems like I was pretty right. So I am thinking about doing the same thing for this Dillian Whyte, Jermaine Franklin fight. Shit, I might do it as early as tonight. I may feel like going live for that tonight, but probably not, because the Lakers game is on tonight. So if I do go live, it'll be for that and some other boxing topics. But I probably will do a rejudge the fight for Dillian Whyte versus Jermaine Franklin sometime this week. So make sure you guys join me for that. It's going to be live, but then you guys can watch it over as always. Okay. So after this past weekend, Dillian Whyte defeated Jermaine Franklin, unanimous decision. Two of the judges, I believe, had it 116-112, while one of the judges had it as a draw. One of the biggest controversies coming out of this weekend when it comes to that particular fight, that a lot of people felt like Jermaine Franklin was robbed. Jermaine Franklin himself said he was robbed. So you guys know, I'm going to let you guys know, I have not watched the fight. I watched the highlights, and I thought the highlights were a little iffy in my personal opinion, because like I'm watching the first round where it was very close, very competitive, and it looks like almost Jermaine Franklin was getting the better of Dillian Whyte. And then all of a sudden they skipped 4 rounds and they went straight to the 5th round. And I was like, okay, what? And even from the 5th round on, it looked like Jermaine Franklin, in my personal opinion, from the highlights, he got the better of Dillian Whyte when it comes to this boxing period. But, you can only do so much off of highlights. So, like I said, I want to rewatch the whole entire fight, and I'm probably going to do that with you guys at some point this week. But with that being said, I can only go off of what I've been told. I can only go off of what I've seen. I can only go off the word around town. And as of today, Dillian Whyte is the man who beat Jermaine Franklin, regardless of everyone saying, or a lot of people, or majority of, or a good percentage saying, hey, this was a robbery. Jermaine Franklin Definitely didn't lose at the worst. It should have been a draw. Jermaine Franklin and his team felt the same way. But either way, as you guys see in my title at the very end, it says, is Hearn admitting to a robbery, right? And the reason why I'm saying this, I have not read this article. Obviously, we're going to read this article with y'all real time, reaction real time. That's what we do when it comes to BlakGooseTV. But I'm interested to see why Eddie Hearn is all of a sudden suggesting the possibility of Anthony Joshua versus Jermaine Franklin happening next, rather than Anthony Joshua versus Dillian Whyte happening next. As we all know, the reasoning for this battle between Dillian Whyte and Jermaine Franklin was to see who's going to be the next opponent for Anthony Joshua in 2023, right? Because Anthony Joshua is looking for a tune-up fight. AJ is looking for the tune-up fight, and then after that tune-up fight, most likely he's going to look to get another big fight, whether it's Fury, whether it's Deontay Wilder, whether it's Joe Joyce, whether it's Andy Ruiz, 3, whatever the case may be. Anthony Joshua is looking for a tune-up fight in the beginning of the 2023 year. Then obviously he's going to go on to do a much bigger fights later in the year, or that's what's projected, or that's what's expected, or that's what's portrayed. We all thought it was going to be Dillian Whyte because we're like, hey, well, Dillian Whyte versus Franklin is happening. You know, Eddie Hearn is speaking into existence and repeatedly telling us, yeah, the winner of this fight is going to get AJ. They're putting themselves in prime position for the AJ fight. I want to see Dillian Whyte versus AJ 2. Like, we need to see this, technically 3 if you want to count the amateurs. I want to see this. I want to see this fight happen so bad. And then now all of a sudden we have this controversial win of Dillian Whyte over Jermaine Franklin. And now all of a sudden Eddie Hearn is saying, well, you know, maybe Eddie, you know, maybe AJ might fight Franklin, and then Dillian Whyte might take another fight in February. Who knows? And then maybe the summer at Wembley, we might see AJ versus Dillian Whyte. So I don't really understand where this is coming from. I'm not really sure the motive behind Eddie Hearn and saying these things and changing the narrative. This might just all be negotiation. You know, that's what I do want to think. But we all know Dillian Whyte is closely associated with Eddie Hearn. So I don't understand Eddie Hearn trying to, you know, mess with the negotiations when it comes between Dillian Whyte and AJ, because he was making a boatload of money. Jermaine Franklin versus AJ won't make as much money for him, obviously, because we're talking about 2 different promotional companies. And also name-wise, period, too, when it comes to UK. Jermaine Franklin is not known over in the UK the same way Dillian Whyte is. So that would, you know, Dillian Whyte versus AJ 2 would make way more numbers, way more money than Jermaine Franklin. So who knows what the motive is behind Eddie Hearn putting this into the atmosphere, but it's definitely something I definitely wanted to present to my people, present to the family members, and want to see what you guys thought about it, because since I'm not able to figure out, since I can't really get down to, you know, why are you doing this, Eddie Hearn? Maybe you guys can, family members. So let's get into this article and give you guys a little bit more insight. You can tell me, hopefully, or give me your guys' perspective on everything that's going on when it comes to this particular situation or the statement coming from Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn isn't certain whether Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua will fight next. The promoter hopes, of course, that the worst-case scenario is that Joshua and Whyte will partake in one bout apiece prior to the rematch taking place sometime next summer. So that right away, that kind of tells me right there, Eddie Hearn is trying to make the most money out of this. So he doesn't want Dillian Whyte. I'm going to tell you this right now. He doesn't want Dillian Whyte and AJ to fight in the beginning of the year because he knows that's not where the money is at. So he's like, well, you know, AJ versus Franklin is a good fight in the beginning of the year. Dillian Whyte versus, you know, who's who in February or January is a good year. Then we can build this up a little bit more so we can have Dillian Whyte and AJ 2 happen in the summer at Wembley. That's when we'll be able to maximize our profits. So right away, I already know that's what's going on. Either way, Hearn's promotional plan is for Joshua and Whyte to meet again in a rematch of the December 2015 fight, which was Joshua's last bout before he became a champion. Joshua stopped Whyte in the 7th round. I mean, I think it's always a big fight, Hearn said of the Joshua Whyte rematch during the Whyte's post-fight press conference. You know, genuinely, I think they've always wanted to fight each other again. It's 1-1, you know, one from the amateurs for Whyte in 2009, one from the pros. The second fight, which seems a lifetime away now, was just an epic night. And the third would be as well. This time it wouldn't be at the O2, it would be at the Wembley. So, you know, I think we'll see what's next for Dillian. Maybe Dillian has one in February, March. AJ has one in March or whatever, and then they meet in the summer at Wembley, or maybe they go straight into it. We'll talk to everybody and see what's next. Franklin, 21-1 of Saginaw, Michigan, pushed Whyte. Throughout a 12-round fight, Whyte was heavily favored to win. At OVO, Whyte won by scores of 116-112 from 2 judges and then a draw from another. But Franklin fought well enough to secure another high-profile fight. Maybe AJ fights Jermaine Franklin in February or March. I don't know. Like, he gave a very good account of himself, gave Dillian Whyte a good fight, you know, but I think Joshua has got a number of names that he's looking at as well. But, you know, I don't really think that Dillian is looking at a rematch with Jermaine. But at the same time, you know, I think he wants big fights. And as you approach the back end of your career that Dillian's in and AJ is in as well, you know, they probably got 5-6 fights, whatever it's going to be. You want big fights because every training camp is hard, you know, and there's no point in having small fights at this stage because every training camp is a tough training camp. And you want to get the most out of it. So now, me reading the article, I have a lot more understanding, me personally. What do you guys take from that? What do you take from Eddie Hearn saying? What I take from that is, hey, look, we want Dillian. We know this is our this is the last fight we'll be able to put together when it comes to Dillian Whyte and AJ facing each other. It's going to be a big deal because they are 1-1. Dillian Whyte winning the amateurs. Joshua stopping Dillian Whyte in the pros. So we know in the UK, Wembley Stadium, this is one of the biggest fights. You see Tyson Fury versus Derek Chisora 3 is happening. That's the big fight that's happening out in the UK. Dillian Whyte versus AJ can considerably be just as big or even bigger. So you want to maximize the profit of that particular fight, and you want to make sure it happens during the time where everyone has access and you can get the most out of it. So summer is going to be the play for that. The question is going to be if we're going to see AJ have a tune-up fight before that, and as well as Dillian Whyte have a tune-up fight before that. I do believe they will. It would only make sense because after that fight happens, AJ is probably going to be looking at one more fight at the end of the year, and that one fight is going to be a mega fight against either Tyson Fury or Deontay Wilder, depending on how things go. So it would only make sense for AJ to have a tune-up fight in the beginning, fight Dillian Whyte in the summer, and then look for that big main profile fight one more time before the end of the year that can possibly kind of put him in a position in his career where he's done for. Because if he loses Tyson Fury, you know what I'm saying, that's kind of AJ's career on what we thought he would be. He can still have big fights and do his thing, but he's not what we thought he would get to. Same with if he loses to Wilder. So now it's all in perspective. Now it makes sense why, Eddie Hearn made this statement. It's not that he's stepping away from the Dillian Whyte versus AJ fight. It's just he's trying to build it up to get the most and maximize the most out of this. Because like he said, both these fights are at the end of the career. And this is probably one of the biggest fights for both of their careers that they can make happen. That's not necessarily what you would say the most dangerous for either one of them. Obviously more so for Dillian Whyte, but they felt each other out, been in the ring with each other. So it's not that same standard or level. You would say maybe like a Tyson Fury versus Usyk, who's never been in the ring with each other, or a Wilder versus Usyk, or even Wilder versus Tyson Fury back when they fought. So that's my opinion, man. What do you guys think about that, man? Stay blessed, not stressed. Let me know as always. Drop it below in the comment section. I need to hear your perspective. Talk your shit. Like the video. Subscribe to the channel if you're not part of the family. You already know what time it is on Sports Nigga Side of the Game. I'll be back. But more boxing. Once again, stay blessed, not stressed. Much love to the people. Happy Monday.